Hello guys, this is Karthik from executeautomation.com and welcome to Selenium Titbits. And in this part, we're going to work with tables, with little complex tables of web pages. So before watching this part, please go ahead and watch the working with tables of simple tables of web pages so that you will have more understanding of what we're going to discuss in this particular part. Again, this is one of the most asked question from my YouTube channel subscribers and also my Execute Automation website subscribers. So let's not waste our time and let's get started. So complex HTML table. In this discussion, we will be working with complex table as opposed to the simple table discussed in our previous video of Selenium Tidbits. This table will look something like this. It will have the same structure until here, but it will have additional two columns. And the one column will have option and it will have some checkboxes. And this kind of scenario is most common in your projects as well. And there is one more column and it will have a delete and save buttons. So you can either delete the particular row or you can either save a particular row after modifying this particular column. So this is also a most common kind of use case in your automation testing. So in this particular complex table scenario, we're not just going to read the data, but we're going to perform some operations in these checkboxes as well as in these buttons. So things to note in this particular table, this is pretty important. If you see the options column, here we have like a lot of checkboxes and these checkboxes are actually dynamically generated. Your developers are not responsible for writing these checkboxes ID and names every time for you because these values will be coming from database. Sometimes they will not be binding it with the name or email or employee ID of your particular column. It will be just a plain checkbox. So no IDs and names for these checkboxes. And note that this particular column, the last column, don't even have a column name. So if you want to delete this particular row, or if you want to click this particular button, how will you do that if you don't even have a column name? So just recollect our simple table reading options of our previous video. There we try to read a particular column value using the column name and the row index. But here the column name itself is not there. Then how will you work with this kind of situations? How will your code has to be working in this kind of scenarios? Again, we need to modify that one as well. And the last but not least, these two buttons. How do you identify these buttons if there is no identification property in this button itself? So I have tried my level best to make this table as complex as possible, and this will cover around 80% of the real-time scenario of working with tables. If there are more, please just add a comment in this particular video of YouTube channel so that I can add even more complex tables in my next videos as well. All right, so let's first start out the problem with this particular table. So for that, I'm going to flip to Visual Studio. All right, so this is the same project which we worked in our last video of working with simple tables using Selenium. All right, so go back to our utilities.cs and we try to write this particular read table to read the data from here. But this time there is little more complexity. So let's try to close all the browsers and let's try to open the complex table. So I'm going to open with this Firefox. All right, so this is the button. Let's see what is the functionality of this. If I click this checkbox, basically nothing will happen because this is just a plain HTML file. But if I click this delete button, you will see that you are trying to delete employee Karthik will appear. This is actually running a simple JavaScript behind the scene. Or if I click the save, it will say you saved the employee Karthik. Similarly, if I click this delete, you're trying to delete employee Ramesh will appear, or if I click this save, it will say you saved the employee Ramesh, right? So this is the basic simple operation of this particular table. So we're going to work with this. But note that here these are not a text. These are a web element controls which is available within this particular table. So how to deal with this kind of table and how to store the values of these particular elements into your collections, which we have already written. So for that, let's go to the Visual Studio. And if we see here for our table data collection, we just have a string type to store the values of the column name and column value. But we are not storing anywhere the iWeb element. So for that, I'm going to just create a simple property this time. And I'm going to call this as a iWeb element of, let's give a good name for this maybe. I'm going to give this as a column special values or something like that. And why I'm giving this as values, because if you see this particular column, it is not mandatory that only one iWeb element can appear. You can also have 2 buttons or 3 buttons or 4 buttons. It all depends on how complex your column is all about. So for that, I'm just going to create this guy as a list of iWeb elements so that it will store a list of collections. All right. So what is a change in our read cell method this time? Sorry, read table method this time. The column name. The column name is actually available in our simple table scenario. But right now the column name is getting empty as well. So this code has to be changed as well. So for that, I'm just going to write a small ternary operation here. So if the column text is not equal to empty, then it's very good that you store the columns text there. Or if you don't have any column name, then it is better that you store the column index for me, which is pretty great, because if I don't have anything, at least I can find this particular column using its column index. So I know what is the column index of this. It's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's fifth index of my particular table. So even from the index, I can find the particular column, which is great. So that is my understanding here. So I'm going to identify using its index. So that's why I'm going to store the index of the column. And the column value, if you see all these columns which is available right here, these special character columns will have a text of empty. So if you see there, these are just the input type of checkbox. But if you see the text, it will not be something like this which you have. So this text are going to be empty again. So for that, I'm going to add one more column special values, and here I'm going to check if the column value dot text is not equal to empty, then great, you just store the null. Or else, now here's where I'm going to do some crazy thing. I'm going to just get all the elements which has a tag name of input, because all the buttons will be of type input. I don't foresee any other kind of controls as of now. So for that reason, I'm just putting input tag here. But maybe if there is some other controls in your case, then probably it's better that you add that one as well. All right. So this is what it is. And what is the error? It is a iWeb element, and that's what it is. I've stored a list of iWeb element. And what is this guy expecting? Okay, so it is expecting for a IEnumerable. So probably I can just add that one if not a problem. Is this gone? All right, great. So this code is happy right now. So I want to make him happy as well. All right. So if he's happy, then the next thing we need to do is I'm not going to touch this read cell method anymore, because this code is pretty good to go, because it's just going to read the data. But we can write one more method which is going to actually perform some operation into my cell. So we're going to do a click operation, or a select click operation of a checkbox, or a click operation of a button, something like that. So for that reason, I'm just going to add a one more method maybe, and let's name this as perform action on cell. So that sounds good, right, Kane? I'm going to just add some of the parameters here. Maybe this time I'm just going to add column index, because the column index can be anything. It is not necessarily that it should be a column index, but you can pass the column index, or we can name it something else as well. So as of now, I'm just creating this as a column index, and let's call a reference column name. So why am I adding a reference column name and a reference column value here? I can probably tell you what is the concept which I am trying to write. And then I'm also going to write a simple control to operate. So basically, I'm just trying to put this guy as null as well. All right, so let's coming back to this code. What is this reference column name and reference column value and this control to operate in my perform action on cell? If I want to click this particular delete button, let's say my scenario is this. I want to delete the employee Prashant. So how do you do that? It's pretty simple to say, but it's very hard to do it. If you want to delete Prashant, then surely the first thing you need to do is you need to find Prashant. So for that, first of all, you will be first identifying the Prashant where he is, and then you also need to click the delete button, but this delete button actually is sitting in a column which don't even have a name, right? And there are two buttons here. If you just do a plain click, it will click any one of the button. So you have to tell which button you have to click, and that's why the column to operate is available. So again, the reference column name, so the Prashant is actually there in the name column. That's the reference column name. And reference column value is nothing but the value which you are going to delete. So here Prashant is the value, and you're going to delete this guy, right? So that's why this reference column name and reference column value and control to operate. So this is basically null, meaning it is an optional parameter as of now. You can change it if you want to. All right, so what am I going to do here? So I need to iterate through the collections I have, and then I need to probably find that particular column which has the name of Prashant. I have to get that particular column index, and then, sorry, the row index, and then I have to delete that guy. So for getting the row index, I am again going to do one more crazy thing, but there is no other way I find in C# to do that. So maybe there may be a simple way as well, but for now I just find this way as the very easy way I think I can do. So I'm just going to use something called as IEnumerable. All right, let's import this guy, and I'm going to name this as get dynamic row numbers. I'm just going to create a simple method here, and then I'm just going to pass the column name and a column value. That's it. And what is this going to do is I'm just going to write a for each loop here, and I'm going to iterate through this particular table data collection, which we already have. And I'm just going to get into this table. And here, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to check if the column name is equal to the column name which I'm passing. Oops. And the column value. So the table dot. Oh, sometime I hate this resharper as well. Table dot column value is equal to column value. All right. If it is, then do a yield return of the table dot the row numbers. This is going to basically return me a dynamic row number. So why am I doing this dynamic row number return is because this row number is also something which can be changing in your table. So you have to identify it because you're not passing the row number explicitly as you were doing in your read cell method, right? You have to find it dynamically. So for that reason, I'm actually returning this dynamic row. So this time I'm not passing the row number, rather I'm just dynamically getting that value out from this. And for that, I'm just using this yield return of the C sharp, which is amazing. I probably like this. So that's why I'm just using this way. And what is the code in this perform action on cell method then? So I'm just going to write a for each of a simple thing. Maybe what I'm going to do is I'm just going to call this get dynamic row number, and I'm just going to pass the reference column name and reference column value. And if I pass this guy, I will say the variable as the column, and let's change this to int maybe, because this is going to return me a integer value. And C sharp is pretty intelligent enough to know that what is the return type of this guy. It is nothing but the row number, which is nothing but an int. So int is still fine for my for each. All right. And then I'm just going to read the cell values. So for that, I'm just going to do a lambda expression. Again, this time at least I can do a lambda expression. So it's exactly the same lambda expression which we used for our read cell method, right? All right. So from en table collection, where e dot column name is equal to the column's index. There we go. This time it is different, right? The column index, which I'm passing from there, and the row numbers, which is nothing but the column. Why don't we change this as the row number? Row numbers. All right, great. So this should be row number. All right, great. So now the code looks good for me. And then I need to select the particular column's special values. And this guy is going to be what? This is going to be your IEnumerable of iWeb element. That's pretty important. And you're going to return at least only one value, so I'm just going to return a single or default this time. All right, so this code is going to be something like this. Okay, let me, all right, so that you can see it more. There we go. So this is the for each, and then what I'm going to do is I need to perform the operation on that particular control. So I need to operate on those controls. That's the next quest we have. So let's do this. If the control to operate is not equal to null, because you can also pass a null value there, and the cell is not equal to, oops, right, and this cell, oh, did I close this for loop? I'm sorry. Okay, and if the cell is not equal to null, then you write a one more, don't mistake me, but we have to do it this way. One more, maybe turn control should be good. Yeah, one more lambda expression from C in cells where C dot. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to use the get attribute of a value dot. Okay, that's going to return me a string anyways. And if that is going to be the control dot operate. So if the cell value is going to be delete, so if you're going to pass a delete in the method, then it's going to check here if the delete is there or not. If the delete is there, then it's going to select the C for me, which is nothing but that particular control in the collection. And then I'm just going to do a single R default, which is going to return a particular cell, and then you can do something like this in C sharp, which is pretty interesting as well. If it's not empty, then just click. It's a null interpolation. That's how they call it in C sharp right now. And if it is this, just do this, else you can do this way as well. If cell is not equal to null, then probably you can do like cell dot first dot oops dot click. There we go. Good. See, this will just tell you that you can still use the interpolation if we just do a yeah. See, this is still valid. You still can do this way. So this is great. All right, I believe the course has been written fully, and this is going to be for the perform action on cell, and this is going to be for read cell, and this is for your modified read table. So let's go back here into the program.cs, and this time let's see if I could click this delete of Prashant or something like that. So for doing that, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to leave this the first method as it is, and let's try to click the delete button. So delete Prashant. All right. So for doing that, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to call the delete method for that is a perform action on cell. And if you see what I need to pass, of course, we know if there is no column name, at least we need to pass the index of it. What if there are 2 or 3 empty columns? Surely it's going to create a problem, right? So index at least should be a best option. So see, I'm passing this time as double quotes because what if there is a column with a value? So still you need to use this. That's why I'm not passing it as an integer. I'm just passing this as a string. All right, and then it's just asking me for the reference column name, which is nothing but name, and column value is nothing but Prashant, and I need to click the delete button. There we go. Do you still think this code works? Cross my finger. Let's see if this code really works. All right, just open the console and it should be open the browser in a while. All right, open the browser as well. I just forgot one more thing. Okay, we should be getting an exception this time. If not, that is great. We need to change this code, this website name to complex table. That's something I forgot. This is exactly the same code of the simple table, so I didn't even change the name there. All right, great. So quickly run this again. All right, it opened the browser. And should click the delete for now. All right, see this? You're trying to delete employee Prashant. Awesome, great. So it is working, man, and it's really working. I'm very happy with this. And let's see if I could click the save as well. So if I just do a save there, and if I try to run this particular code, it should open the browser and it should click the save as well. So it opened the browser, it navigated the page, and now it should click the save. All right, you saved employee Prashant. Great, saved him. So what if I want to click this checkbox of Prashant? So what if I want to do that? So for doing that, see the Prashant, the checkbox of this particular control is not even exist. But if you want to just select that particular column, then just pass the column name there. Basically this particular code by default it just do a click operation. So if your control has like a drop down as also in your column, then probably this code is not going to work. You have to change the logic right here. So you can do something like this: to do currently only click is supported, future future itself is not for me, I think. Future is not taken care here. So you can add a feature for this future. Great. And let's see if I could run this code. So there's an option which is nothing but the column name, And now if I try to run this, hopefully it should open the browser, and it also need to click the checkbox there. Let's see if it works. All right, and it clicks the checkbox. Do you note this? So the checkbox is still checked. Great. So voice always Prashant. Right. Let's change the name to maybe Ramesh. Let's save this and let's try to run this again. And you can see that the browser opened, and now this time it should check the Ramesh employee, and you can see it is working. All right, great. So that's it, guys. Thank you very much for watching this video, and have a great day.